This is Art Prevails podcast, a show where we pick the minds of creatives of all kinds, from folks who combine paper and pen, put brush to canvas, to those who tell stories with their voices and create art with their dances. This be the show for artists, by artists, about artists, sitting around, shooting the breeze, talking about process and impact and the songs you keep looped on repeat. So pull up a seat, stay a while. This is gonna be a good one.
Welcome to the Art Prevails podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Darius Daughtry.
And I'm Nyah Hardmon.
And we are very excited for today's show. For the next half hour or so, you will join us creatives as we talk creativity with other creatives. The artist whose mind we have the pleasure of picking today is none other than Emmy-nominated recording artist, singer, songwriter, and social impact activist, Alexander Starr.
Yes, based in South Florida, independent artist Alexander Starr has shared his talent all over the world. Starr has not only toured over 10 countries, but he is also one of the selected few musicians invited to perform inside the United Nations more than once. His unique stylistic blend of R&B, hip-hop, and reggae uplifts and inspires listeners across the globe. His hit single, Pass the Good Vibes Around, was featured in France's #1 rated TV series, Les Anges, while his 2020 hit track, This Is My Era, was used in the Super Bowl 54 campaign to promote eco-friendly habits. All about social impact, Starr uses his platform to spread love and good energy, earning him a scholarship named in his honor by Montessori Model United Nations. You can listen to this breakout trendsetter on your streaming platforms everywhere. Thank you for stopping by. Welcome, Alexander.
Ooh, you call me a breakout trendsetter. I like that. Thank you.
You are just speaking facts. So, I know you celebrated a birthday recently. So how are you? How are you doing? How's the vibes?
Amazing. Vibes are always amazing. And even when they're not, we as artists, we turn them amazing through art. So, I'm here, I'm living, and I'm thriving.
I love that.
For sure. And homie, we appreciate the fact that you are the first, the inaugural, the #1 guest on the Art Prevails podcast.
Ooh,
so tell us, man. How do you feel about being the #1 guest, the first guest ever on this podcast, bro?
Man, I feel blessed and highly favored. I feel like artistically valued, man, because Darius, I look up to you, man. You're like a trendsetter. You're a trailblazer. You're a entrepreneur. Like there's so many titles I can give you,
making me feel good.
No, I'm just spitting facts. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful to be recognized by my respected peers, and to we rise up together, bro. So I'm happy to be on your podcast. I'm happy to support. Like, just let me know what you need from me.
All day. So with that being said, so we homies, I know a bit about you. So for our listening audience that doesn't know, Nyah read a beautiful bio, but just give a little bit about yourself, man. Let people know who you are, and what you're about.
Well, that's kind of tough to start, man, because I go off in so many different laser shots.
Do your thing. We'll stop you if we need to.
Basically, man, I've been in music my entire life. Like since 11th grade, I've been in the music industry full time, pursuing this. And I've learned a lot. I've done a lot. I've experienced a lot. I've traveled a lot. And I continue to use all of these experiences to grow and to build upon this brand that I'm establishing. And I hope that I'm able to encourage and inspire people along the way as I climb. I don't just climb up the mountain and look down at y'all and be like, "Oh, y'all wish y'all were here." I'm like, "Hey, let me feed you some rope. This is how I'm climbing. Y'all should climb this way too." And that's just kind of how I've been operating as an artist, and it seems to be doing all right.
Curiously, like you said, 11th grade. Like what spurred that? Well, like what happened in 11th grade that get you to be this artist? Head in the direction that you are in now.
So in 11th grade, I was a battle rapper, right? So I was straight bars. And I was freestyling at a basketball park across the street from my house. And this guy challenged me, and he wasn't really a rapper. He was a manager, but he just wanted to see what I would do. from then on, he took me to my first studio. I was 16. Met who would become my future recording group co-members. And I was in a recording group called the Free Agents Music Group, starting in 11th grade. And for the next 5 years, all I did was Free Agents. Like, literally graduated high school, top of my class, 4.0, didn't apply to a single college. I walked the stage for graduation, got in a van with the guys, and drove to New York City. You know, like, I've been all in since then, like all in.
And 11th grade is such a young age to get started in that industry. Is there like a certain amount of wisdom that you think you gained from starting that young in the game?
Yeah, it's a whole lot of hindsight. It's a whole lot of, damn, if I knew back then what I knew now. It's a whole lot of that. But it also, you know, I also realized how I made some of the right decisions, because I had a lot of opportunities to sign with the wrong people. I had a lot of opportunities to kind of compromise my spirit to be who they wanted me to be. And I was capable of being that. I was capable of filling those shoes. But I passed up on some opportunities, and a lot of people will call me crazy for it. But I feel good now, because like, I run my own ship, and, you know, I'm doing what makes my heart smile, and I'm creating music that feels right to me, and I'm learning the business, and I'm tweaking the plan, and I'm learning the game, and checking the levels and the frequencies, and you know, I'm getting closer and closer, and I'm climbing higher and higher. So the freedom, I guess, to say all that, freedom is what I really value, and especially in this business, freedom is like really, really priceless.
And I think that's one of the best things that an artist can do, just learning what's best for them, not what other people say, but like, what do you want to do? The freedom to make your own choices and your own artistic decisions. So that's amazing. Yeah,
absolutely. And, you know, it's how you don't go crazy, you know?
Right.
So with that, I'm wondering, what gave you that courage, that bravery, man? Because, like, you know, the idea, like, you're young, like, you know, you're young and you're in the game, and you're like, yo, I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to get signed. Like, that is, as an up and coming artist, that is like the thing, to get signed. So like, and to be put on a list label and to be put out there in this particular manner. So what was it at that moment that said to you, like, nah, this is not for me. Like, I can't do this. This is not the path that I want to go, because a lot of people don't have that fortitude to turn away those opportunities.
To be honest, I feel like it's a balance of two things. Number one, my gut, and number two, good mentors, right? Like, a lot of poor decisions are made in short-term thinking, when you're thinking of right now. But when I think about, especially signing an agreement, when you signing to somebody is basically like marrying them, right? Would you marry somebody you just met in a coffee shop just because, like, they pulled up in a nice car or they look like they're stable, right? You gotta look deeper into the situation that's presenting itself, because a lot of stuff looks really wonderful on the outside, but if you dig a little bit deeper, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. It's a lot of rented this, rented that. It's a lot of perception, right? But perception isn't necessarily value outside of the social media realm. I just did a post the other day where it's like, you see this, like, a film set. It looks like a private jet, but it's like, a lot of Instagram models are taking private jet photos in a stage, right? And it's just like, this whole perception, let me make you think I'm valuable.
Right.
Even though I don't really have the gold in my Fort Knox to back it up. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just my gut feeling. I think in long term, and just really good guidance, Like, everybody needs a good mentor. Everybody needs somebody who's done it that can kind of guide you along the path. So,
do you want to shout out anybody that is has been a positive mentor for you?
A bunch of people, man. Well, Johnny Mars, he's the one that found me at the basketball park.
At the park?
Yeah. And he brought me to my group, the Free Agents. Smoke, Lex, rest in peace. Smoke is Chris Winter now. He's actually a really dope rapper, man. I still look up to him. My brother Kuda Biza, co-founder of This Is My Era, AFR Clothing. He's now a serial entrepreneur doing huge things. And yeah, just there's so many to name. I'm just grateful for them all, man.
Nah, it's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's beautiful that you name them, right? So that's why I ask, because oftentimes, like
my dog Echo Slim just got off the phone with him.
You can't
Echo Slim been like so. He's been priceless to my career, bro. I've known Echo since 2005, and he's literally, we were just talking today, man. He's like, we're brothers, bro. He's always looking out. He's always plugging me with opportunities and just giving me guidance, man. Even from down to like technical support with my software that he also uses. He's like, yo, let me give you a run through, bro. First, you got to go into the terminal and you got to do this. And I'm just like, bro, I would have not figured this out if it weren't for you.
Listen, man. Every chance that I get, I will say this: that dude is one of the best people I know,
ever.
Like straight up and down. Ever. Like as far as like a genuine, real, great soul. Like that dude is it.
Yeah. Selfless, man.
Yeah,
selfless.
Man.
Literally, like legit puts the team before him. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I love Echo, man.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think the key word in what you were saying is good guidance. Because I feel like when you're making it or when you're trying to make it, you'll have a lot of people in your ear, like trying to say what you should do or what direction you should go in. And I feel like it's really hard to just figure out like, all right, what do I want to do? And I know I need help, but like, is this really the right direction that I want to go in? So you mentioned something about like other people telling you stuff and what direction to go in. But what is your definition of an artist in artistry?
Ooh, look at that profound question. Okay, girl.
We're here dropping gems today. Nothing but gems.
Okay. Man, my definition of an artist is a think of like a Brita filter. Y'all know the filter with the water. You pour the water and it goes through the Brita filter, and what comes out is kind of like purified through that filter. As an artist, you're a filter. Your reality comes in, and then it filters through your experience and your paradigm and your language or your visual art and the way that you see the world. And it comes out as a pure expression of what your lens color is, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess a Brita filter, like an Instagram filter, whatever, like you just take your reality and you turn it into a projection of what you feel and think about it. And chances are other people relate to your filter. So, the difficulty comes when people feel like they have to fashion their filter off of what they see other people winning with. Just because somebody else is winning with their filter, that doesn't mean that filter is compatible with your prism of light. You know what I mean? Everybody's prism is different and gives out different shades. So an artist's job is to interpret the world through their own unique filter. That was a really kind of like stretched out answer, but I hope I answered the question right.
Oh yeah, you definitely got it.
Yes. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to follow up with that.
All right.
That, what an artist is. Now, because I have my own kind of interpretation of this next question is, how do you differentiate between an artist and an entertainer?
I really like this podcast, yo. This is dope. Y'all got the good questions. It's because it's coming from artists, right?
That's right.
So, boom. An artist and an entertainer. Well, I guess the main difference between an artist and entertainer is just an extra layer, right? Entertainers are artists, right? But the entertainment piece is also putting your art on display. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? So you could be an artist, man. There's a bunch of really dope poets who just have their books and they don't share it with anybody. They're not entertainers. But if you're a poet or a lyricist or a visual artist that then takes this and says, yo, check out what I just made, and then performs the piece, now you're an entertainer because you're using your art to engage the minds of other people. I guess entertainment is engaging minds, right? Engaging attention. So if you use your art to actively engage people's attention, you're an entertainer.
So what about the converse though? So what about the entertainer who is doing things that people are applauding, but it's through kind of like that same filter, that Instagram filter, that same, inside of a studio taking pictures of a jet, right? Like, and that's what they're putting out there, and that's what the audience is receiving, and they are entertaining. They're good at it. People are eating it up. Is that, do you consider that person an artist?
Yeah, that's absolutely art, right? The only difference is they're not using original parts to build their pieces. You know what I mean? Like, if you take, let's just say Mercedes, right? Mercedes makes their parts, they build a car, and it's a Mercedes. The artists that you're talking about who are doing it just for the social media, they're grabbing different pieces from different things and building a car, but it's not an original car. I use really weird metaphors, but I hope it makes sense.
No, you're good. So I want to know, because we talked about like what you got coming up and everything, right? Like some stuff that you got coming out soon. And so people will see a certain part of you. You mentioned, you being a battle rapper and a lyricist and such, right? Mm-hmm. And then you listen to, I'm not listening to the radio right now, but I hear stuff. And so a lot of the people that are getting play and run and consumed by the masses, they like, I can hardly understand some of the stuff that they're actually saying, right? Like, like, what are you saying, bro? Or like, there's this a repetition of about 8 words in a verse, and then with just some grunts and whistles, and then and they'll tell you like, oh, it's about the vibe, it's something that's about the vibe. So like I wonder, I think about like, okay, well, is this artistry? Is this what we consider artistry? And I guess the question is, who gets to decide what is artistry at all? Art.
I mean, my opinion on that is McDonald's is still food, but it's not a home cooked meal.
I mean, it's not. Right? It's not really food. It's kind of not food.
Well, you're right. It's chemicals that magicians in the kitchen just kind of boo.
Right. You can eat it. Like you can eat it. You can eat it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So technically, you got fast food and you got home cooked meals. You know what I mean? Certain ones are enjoyed at certain times, and different experiences warrant different ones. So like, I like making the type of music that you just like, you riding in your car and you just listening, right? Like, my car is kind of like a safe haven for me. When I'm driving, the things that I listen to, this is me by myself thinking my thoughts. And I like listening to music that makes me think even more profound than what I am. Other people like listening to stuff that's just going to kind of like hypnotize them, right? So it's different for everybody, but I still like, I can't remove the title of art from people who are making something, right? But I understand the perspective, right? I understand the frustration of somebody who creates like as a serious art form, like calligraphy, right? Like, we do calligraphy, and I don't know if people know what that is, but it's a really old school, fancy type of writing style, like beyond cursive. Someone who studied and mastered calligraphy will look at a doctor's prescription note and be like, ugh. You know what I mean? But it's still writing, I used to feel really alienated from the radio. I used to feel like, man, they would never play somebody like me. I just felt alienated from the music industry for so long, especially having a positive message in my music, because most artists that are being showcased on a high platform don't necessarily have positive messaging or imagery in their music. So I used to feel like there's no place for me in that. But what I'm learning to look at it as like the shelves in a store, right? There's only so much shelf space, and you might have an amazing product, right? But if your product doesn't belong on a shelf that store already has other products on, chances are customers aren't coming to look for that product. So you've got to create something that resonates with the tastes of what people are already looking for, even if it's not necessarily what the core of your art is. People are looking for that, right? So interpret that through your artistic lens, and it'll be authentic.
So, like, man, like what I just realized as you were saying that is that, like, I thought I was like the master of analogies. Like we can go toe for toe with analogies, man. Right. And so it's because I want to kind of riff off of that analogy, because I'm thinking like, okay, cool. As a store, if my product is pork rinds, like say I make pork rinds, you know, there are going to be places where those pork rinds are going to run off the shelf. Like a certain on a corner store in certain neighborhoods, if I put them pork rinds there, like I might do well. If I go to the Whole Foods and be like, hey, I got these pork rinds, you guys want to put these on your shelves, they're probably not going to, you know, welcome me into their store, because the people that they cater to aren't looking for this. Now, what do? Do I say, okay, well, I just go ahead and I'm going to stick with my pork rinds and just keep going to the corner store? Or do I say, okay, well, let me figure out how to make these organic pork rinds, you know, or fake pork rinds made out of soy and tofu and tempeh or something, you know, and kind of come back with the same flavor profile, you know, but it caters more so to this particular clientele, right? So which do you do? Do you say, okay, I'm going to stay authentic to what it is that I do as an artist, or I switch it up to try to get into this particular market because I think that'll be more profitable and give me a wider base?
Well, I feel that even if your aim is to be in the big stores on the big shelf, you still have to start with the little stores. You still have to start with the small outlets, the grassroots, the footwork. How was it put to me? Before you can conquer a kingdom, you have to conquer the surrounding villages, right? So you have to infiltrate all the villages that surround, the kingdom and the castle. And then once you have all of those villagers now fighting with you, the kingdoms will open up their gates to you because they see that you have huge support from all the villages that surround them. So I feel that it's really like, you got to understand who you are, right? Once you understand who you are, you make the product that not only you like, but you know other people are seasoned to like, right? Because even the small villages, as conscious and as woke as people are, woke people still listen to what's on the radio.
For sure.
And they still hold value to the sound that is pervasive throughout the entire world. You go to any country in the world, and just to name some of the few that I've gone to where I heard like not only American urban music and trap music, but that local version of urban trap music, from France to Morocco to Rwanda to all of these places that are so far removed from American culture. They're all modeling huge industries of music after the American mainstream. So there's something to be tapped into there. It's okay to be a niche artist, right? And being a niche artist is very special because it's organic and it's pure, right? I'm just saying you need to throw a little elements in beyond your niche, because locating people who are subscribed to your niche is one of the hardest things to do.
Right.
It's very hard to find the small amount of people that want this niche. Like, you kind of like cast a wide net and then let the people who are in your niche trickle down directly to you.
Cool. One time for Moroccan mumble rap.
Right?
Hey.
Worldwide.
It's real too. It's real. And it sounds dope. I don't know what they're saying, but if it's anything like the trap that we got here, who knows if I want to know what they're saying. But,
sure.
It's the sound, like we have literally taken over the entire globe.
Right. But I guess the secret is, how do you make that product, that sells in the corner stores and the Whole Foods? What is that creation process like for you? Like, have you figured out the secret yet? Are you still working on it? Or how do you create?
Well, yeah, I'm actually excited to release some of this home cooking that I've been doing throughout this whole 2020. I've been in my lab with my burners and my beakers, right, and, creating chemistry with myself. Like, I had to do this, right? Like, for a very long time, I was making music a specific kind of way, like very polished. And because as a positive artist, I've been aiming and I've been had to aim for like the corporate placements and the endorsements and things like that. And it's worked out amazing for me. But during quarantine, I got to sit back while everybody else was figuring their shit out. I got to sit back and figure mine out and just like, yo, if I'm just locked away in this room, what am I thinking about? What am I talking about? What do I want to say? And the song that I just came out with, I'm a Mess, is that. The album that I'm coming out with, 5 Star General, is that. Shout out to QST Music Group. They produce 5 Star General. And it's like, yeah, I got to rediscover myself. And it's a constant rediscovery. So, yeah, I think the best way to do it, to answer your question, is to shut out all opinions of other people and do something that you like. Just create what you like. Don't make it for anybody but yourself. And if you impress yourself, anybody who is of a kindred spirit is going to like what you make.
Awesome. Dope.
Yeah. And but what I think is interesting though, right, is you gave shout out to the producers and then going back to the ideas of like your mentors and stuff, right? So it's like, being able to do the things that you like, work in the ways that you want to work and impress yourself, but because we're talking about like as an artist, like an entertainer, right? Because then the entertaining part is, all right, this is for an audience and other people are going to, consume this, right? And other people, so having, I think it's important for artists who want to think about things as entertainers and making a viable career out of that, is having the right team around them to make sure that can happen, right? So a lot of artists like, oh yeah, I'm dope, I'm doing my thing. And then they have a bunch of people, maybe they're doing it alone, or they have a bunch of people around them that just say, yeah, man, you dope, man, you dope. That's right, do that thing, right? But they don't have the necessary acumen or skills or whatever to push that artist in these proper directions to take them into the next space.
Yeah. No, it's very true, man. It's very true. And sometimes it's a long process because not everybody that's near you is necessarily a fit for developing you or developing your brand. And I feel like that's also why it's important to look beyond credentials, because a lot of people have credentials and you can be influenced by their opinions. But just because they have credentials doesn't mean that they're credentialed in developing you. And that's something that I had to learn throughout my career. I took the opinions of credentialed people and caused them to furlough songs that I was working on because they didn't react the way I wanted them to, or caused them to, make me put a pause on doing this record, or don't put out that record because this credentialed person wasn't blown away by the song I just presented. And so I let the song, die. And then I listen back like 2 years later. I'm like, yo, this was hot. This is hot. Why didn't I put this out? It's because I listened to somebody who wasn't focused on me or my purpose. They were focused on their experience with somebody else's purpose and trying to fit my purpose into that mold. And it didn't work. So they didn't like my record. So I didn't use my record based on their opinion. That is the wrong thing to do. Like, you got to find people who understand what your craft is and to know how to fashion your type of gold into the right type of jewelry, because not everybody knows how to work with your type of precious metal.
That's very true. I think it's a matter of just picking your circle wisely, which no one really tells you how to do. It's kind of one of those things you have to learn after the fact, like you said, hindsight, which is a good thing and a bad thing, I guess, because you have that knowledge now, but you wish you could have told yourself 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, facts.
Another thing that I've encountered as an artist that I've kind of been struggling with, but not really, is just the fact that your art lives outside of you. So like I have people who are texting me like, oh, I saw your video the other day, or my grandparents showing my video around and that stuff, or just the fact that like, even if one day I decide to wake up and not do poetry ever again, my art is still out there and it still exists outside of me. So do you ever think about like that legacy that you're leaving behind with your music and that stuff? And like, what'll happen after, like, what legacy do you wish to leave behind with your music? And what'll happen after, like, when you're in your olden days and just looking back on what you've done and what you've created?
It's the best feeling, right? When somebody like acknowledges your artwork or you know, the manifestation of your creativity, and like you weren't even thinking about that. You over here think about some issue that you have, and then somebody sends you a message, yo, I just saw the video, it was really dope. Like, you know, you're bringing your conversation of that moment where you created into somebody's life. So, you know, I think a great way to look at it is like your art is a conversation, right? Is it a conversation that you want to have for a very long time? Is this a statement that you want to be made over and over and over again throughout the years? Because once you've released it, that's a statement that you're making. When you're 70 years old, the statements that you made when you were 20 through your art are still going to be there. And somebody's going to be like, hey, you made that statement, right? Which, you know, it's cool because it could show like throughout time how you develop, right? But always remember that the things that you say, once it's out there, it's out there. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And it can also hold you accountable, right? But to answer your question, my goal is to make the type of records that, you know, I'll still be able to go on tour proudly with when I'm 50, you know. I still want to be able to sing my songs as an older gentleman, sing the songs I sang as a younger man and be proud to sing them, you know. And I feel like it's an interestingly unique approach because it doesn't necessarily seem to be the popular thing these days. But when I think about songs that last forever, you know, there are artists who didn't really have anything negative saying in the song. Michael Jackson will live forever. You have not heard him once degrade a woman in his song. You have not heard him once promote ignorance. He was all about lifting people up. And he's probably the most iconic artist of all time, at least one of them. The songs that you still hear.
Marvin Gaye.
Bob Marley. Like, think about these guys, though. They will live forever, and they didn't promote negative messages in their songs. They promoted timeless messages of love and unity and like people existing like harmoniously. So if they're the ones that are living forever, why wouldn't I follow those footsteps?
Exactly. I think a lot of people don't have that long-term plan. Like they make music for now, but they don't think about how that music is going to age. And like, do you want to play this with your kids 10 years down the line and that stuff? So it's really dope that you're having like that long-term sight and seeing into the future like that.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. That's very interesting because there's this balance between, you know, we think about like mindfulness and being present, right? And so being focused on like all we have is this moment right now. Like that's all we really have, right? But then being aware that the things that you are doing in this moment, right, have the ability to exist like beyond you, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm present, but what am I doing in this presence? What am I doing in this moment, right? And what am I contributing to? Like, I think what energy am I putting into the atmosphere by the work that I'm putting out and putting into it right now, because energy, you know, can die, right? So you put in that energy, right, and that energy lasts, you know, until whenever, you know. Yeah. But always being aware, like and I think that's important, right? Because you talk about these people, you know, Bob Marley and Marvin and Michael, right? And you know, the fact that like that's who I listen to. Like that's the majority of the music I listen to was created before 2000, right? You know, before like a lot of it was created before 1990, right? A lot of it before 1980, right? Like I listen to a lot of older stuff, And not only do I think like the energy that is in the music is what draws me to it. The energy that's even in the musicians, the way the musicians played, the sonically, the things that were happening in the music, but also the spirit that I feel the spirit of these artists in their work that attracts me to it. Like, yo, this is here. And even like, whether it's the love songs and stuff, it's like, you're crying out like Lenny Williams crying, it's like, yeah, like that's even like right now, like if I saw Lenny Williams and he was my homeboy and he started crying to somebody, I'd be like, man, what you doing? Like, I'll be cool, man, stop crying. Like, but hearing it and hearing that, like what the vulnerability and the sincerity in the music, I think, which is something that I relate to your work. When I listen to your work, I hear the sincerity. I hear, you allowing yourself to be vulnerable in it and not feeling like, oh, it has to sound like somebody else. I have to do anything that anybody else is doing. I am being me. And that, as I always teach, vulnerability is like the key to connecting to any audience. That's the key. Mm-hmm. If you're able to be vulnerable, that's when people can relate to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because in essence, as artists, we're like saying and doing things out loud that people feel and want to say and do, but can't necessarily. So like people live vicariously through us, So that's why it's important, man. If you want to find your real core supporters, tell your real core story in your artistic way. And then the people who feel it are going to follow you. They're going to like you, love you, support you, and nurture your career because you're speaking up for them in a way that they don't necessarily have the means to do.
Yes.
And when you're speaking up for like people, are there anyone in particular that you have in mind, or any like groups or people that you're speaking to in your music, or does that kind of change with the times?
It definitely changes, but I feel like my entire career I've come from the place of the underdog. Mm-hmm. I've come from the place of that person who doesn't necessarily fit at one particular lunch table with one particular crowd, but I can sit with someone at every lunch table. I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. I just kind of, I've lacked conformity my entire life. And I feel like so many people feel that way. But because of social norms, we end up conforming because it's more comfortable to do. So, my more recent work is, kind of like me rebelling against conformity and just being dope at being different. And that's kind of what I enjoy doing, or what I've enjoyed putting together this year. And, I'm hoping that it speaks to different people. These new projects are coming with a new level of honesty. Everybody knows the positive Alexander Starr. Everybody knows that this is my era, past the good vibes around Alexander Starr. And these are highlight moments for me. They've gotten major wins for me. But, everybody knows that the sports game is way more than the Sports Center top 10, right? Everybody likes watching the highlights, but there's a whole game that went into getting those highlights. And with these new projects, I'm talking about the whole game.
I like that you use that term underdog, because like everyone loves the underdog story. And I feel like it's because people can relate to it most. Everyone goes through being doubted or like feeling like they can't make it or feeling like they're not good enough. And I think that's the greatest thing about an underdog, is that you relate to everyone. Like you said, you don't conform to one thing. It kind of just blends into a whole bunch of different things. And I think that's also where that honesty and vulnerability was coming from as well, just because there's so much struggle that comes with being an underdog. And I love that that's able to be transformed into like a story or a song, because it's such an amazing journey to watch and like listen to. That's real nice.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Well, I guess, and so question, with thinking about an underdog, and Nyah just mentioned struggle, right? So like, with you, when you feel like, because I don't know, sometimes for me, like especially like, during quarantine, there are moments in which I didn't want to create. I wasn't in the space. I didn't feel motivated. I didn't feel right. There were these moments and pockets, right? When you're struggling yourself, when you don't feel necessarily motivated, like what is it that pushes you through? What motivates you to kind of continue creating and being the artist that you desire to be?
Other creatives, just listening to other people that I like and people that I hadn't heard of, just seeing what other people are doing out there. Listening to other people's creativity inspires mine. Think of it like, okay, here goes another weird metaphor, right? Think of a tag team wrestling match, right? There's always somebody, you're in the ring and your partner's outside the ring, like you're whooping or you're getting whooped, you're tired, right? When you're tired, you gotta tag out, let the other person come in, right?
Come on, bring it, come on.
And then you watch them with a refreshed energy. Watching someone with a refreshed energy refreshes your energy.
Yeah.
So you watching your tag team partner go and they're whooping or whatever, and then you just watch it like, yeah, I'm tired.
Now you're ready, like tag me in.
I'm ready to go. Tap me.
You get up on the turnbuckle and you wait for them to tap your foot and you jump and you fly in and you splash. Yep. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So that's how listening to other people's music makes me feel. Whenever I'm tired, it just, I'm watching and I'm just like, yo, that's dope. Damn, I could do that. Yo, let's go. Boom. And then I jump in,
So who's done that for you recently?
Ooh, excellent question. I really like Toby Nwigwe.
Man, that dude, man.
Fan of him.
Yeah.
He's the prototype for like underdogs. Like
NPR Tiny Desk changed my life. It was beautiful.
Crazy. Toby, I like people like Anderson .Paak, like real musicians, like soulful musicians to drum and spit and sing and all that stuff. Like people like that energize me up, man. There was a group that I really loved, man, because they were the closest to what I was doing, but in a mainstream level, these guys, Nico and Vinz. You will know them from Am I Wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Thinking we could be something.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. That was like their huge hit. And when I saw them, all their music was positive. It was singing, it was rapping, it was Afrobeat influence. And I was like, yo, these guys are on a major level showing me that it can be done with a positive message. Now, I don't know what happened since then.
Right.
I know they got a major deal and then something happened and then they went off the scene. So I don't know where they're at, but those are the type of people that I would really love to work with and connect with and to kind of understand what did you experience in this industry as a group with a positive message, very similar to mine, that I can learn from because they broke through, right? But yeah, who else, man? There's I like Chance the Rapper. He's witty, he's clever. There was somebody that I was thinking of a few minutes ago, but it jumped my mind because I kind of tangent.
Yeah,
I'm good at that. I'm good at ADD.
So, like, man, those are great. Like, I mean, all great people. Like Toby, for me, just kind of following. I caught him like early on, like when he first started doing like these his Sunday joints. He just dropping like a different song every Sunday. And I'm like, one, just that level of production. Like, was inspiring. Like there's dudes out here like putting out like every Sunday, like a whole damn song and video with some choreography and everything. I'm like, wait a minute. Like lyrics like, yeah. So you to be able to be that, of course, I don't know, like his process, but like to be that connected and focused and engaged in your craft and say, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this every Sunday, me and my team, right? Because again, he has his team, right? Mm-hmm. Me and my team, we're going to produce this every Sunday because I believe that much in myself and what I'm doing, and putting that out there consistently, like and dropping quality stuff. like you're listening to, like you talk about his lyrics, like, yo, he's spitting. Like he ain't just saying some nonsense. Like he's spitting. There's like intricate level like rhymes in this stuff. I'm like so many like ugly face inducing rhymes. Yeah, like ooh, like what?
It's like his lyrics are like Heavenly Street.
Mm-hmm.
The perfect balance.
Heaven meets the streets.
Yeah.
So I get inspiration from artists like that for sure.
Dope. I mean, okay, good. So that inspires you. You see what they're doing. You're like, yeah, let me work. Let me get in. Tag me in.
Yeah.
Tag me in. Put me in the game, coach.
Absolutely.
I think both of those most of those artists that you mentioned too, there's a quality of, Darius, you said it too, the team aspect, which I feel like has to contribute to their success. Because even with Anderson .Paak and his band, the Free Nationals, which are now independent now, but he was always so supportive of them just to make sure that like not only he was successful, but his team was successful too. And like I think that maybe one of the secrets to artistry is just like having, like you said earlier, that good people surrounding you and that good team behind you. Because like, I don't know, I feel like success isn't as sweet if it's just you completely by yourself on your own. And I don't think anyone could really make it by themselves, but people like to pretend they can. So I feel like when you say like, oh, I made it completely by myself and I'm just here by myself at the top, is not really that sweet. It's like, it's better to see everyone eat with you and having that community that you build,
100%.
with artists and people around you.
100%. I haven't really seen, what I'm doing in this business as like competitive, right? Like I understand like numbers are competitive, right? But what I also recognize is this is a relationships driven industry. Art is a relationships driven industry. And, when you work together with other people to create art, like you win together. Now, I do have prerequisites for the type of people that I work with. The prerequisite is you have to be working as hard or harder than I am. Otherwise, I can't really work with you. If you have no motivation, we cannot be friends. We cannot be associates or we cannot work together on a project. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a purpose for what you're doing, okay. But if you're in this industry and with or without me, you're in motion, I'm happy to work with you and collab on something and win together.
Nice.
That is, I think that's the last part is super important, right? Like I think, if you are working, like putting work in, right? If you're like, because oftentimes people are like, yeah, put me down, like, you know what I'm saying, put me on, right? And or let's do something, or let's work together, or whatever. That's the thing. But they're not really working as hard. They're like taking it as more of a hobby or something that I do on the side, or whatever, right? And not putting forth that effort. Then also, if they see you as oftentimes people see you as a step above or having a certain place where if they get you on this project or they get, you're involved in this, that's going to lift them up. And they're not looking at it as a real kind of reciprocal, mutually beneficial relationship. They're looking to kind of, get more out of it than they are actually putting in, or than you're going to get out of it, right?
Yeah, it's like people who come up to you like, "Yo, put me on." That's basically like them saying, "Hey, can I cheat off your paper?"
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if you asking me to put you on, you're asking me for the answers that I've worked and studied to get. So that means on the next project that I get, what value are you going to contribute to me getting new answers if you didn't even put in any effort to help me get the answers on my paper right now? You know what I mean? Don't ask me for my cheat sheet and then expect me to want to pull you in to work with me, because you already asked me to cheat to help you. So, I definitely feel that, bro. It's and a lot of times people, like, it happens in the industry. Like, you get ignored by people who might feel that way about you because they haven't heard about you outside of you trying to reach out to them.
Right.
when people hear about you from people they respect,
then
they'll give you their time. But if you're new and you're coming up and you're trying to do this and you're trying to do that, maybe somebody will give you a chance. Maybe. But typically, you know, if you get a warm referral, you're much more likely to like pique someone's interest if they hear about you from somebody that they value.
And I think what's important about that referral is the work that you got to do to get that referral, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be putting in work. You have to be creating quality and benefit for somebody else to be like, oh, this is somebody that I would vouch for. This is somebody that I would like, oh, this, you should know this person. This is somebody whose name I'm just going to speak, right? So like the best thing about you is like when your name is spoken in rooms that you've never been in, right? Mm-hmm. You know, and you've never even asked for those names like to be spoken in those rooms, and that's because you just have been putting forth consistently great work, right? You just and being true to yourself. And that's what it is, like being true to yourself and keep doing you, and then those doors are starting to open up for you, and then you don't have to say, "Hey, put me on." You know, somebody will be like, "Hey, you know, I heard about you," or like, "Hey, you know." When maybe the time in which you do see them and y'all in the conversation, you don't have to ask that, like, oh, that's who you are. Oh, word, we should collab or we should connect or whatever. But that's because your name has already been in their ears before you had to say anything.
Right. And, you know, moments of recognition that are the sweetest come when you're not looking for them, when you're not trying to talk yourself up. Like most people, when they meet somebody for the first time that's in their industry, like it's human nature to try and impress people with what you've done or, you know, who you know, like name droppers. Like there's a time and a place to name drop, not necessarily immediately when you meet somebody, in my personal opinion, right? But there's a recognition that comes when you're not looking for it that's sweeter than all other recognitions. When you've just been putting in work, like you said, and somebody just, you know, you might not even think that all your efforts have made a drop in the bucket. And then all of a sudden you get an email from somebody who's like, hey, I heard about you from this person. We would love to get you on our show or whatever. Like, the littlest things, like every seed that you plant will grow into a flower when you're not staring at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Have you, speaking of like those little moments where it comes least unexpected, like moments where just like, wow, I'm really here. Have you had like that mama, I made it moment, success moment? Like really, this is really, I came a long way.
You know what's funny? Y'all have asked me so many questions that are 100% in alignment with the song I just put out, I'm a Mess. Like, I literally answered this question in my second verse of I'm a Mess, which I'll spit for y'all at the end of this. I feel like that'll be
perfect.
The perfect
so don't even answer it then. Like, you can we'll just wait for that.
All right, cool.
All right, so cool. So we're headed towards the end. So, you know, one of the things that we're going to do at the end of every podcast is ask this one specific question. And so the question is, say it's 2085 and somehow we've we have the ability to still be here, right? And you can only have 3 songs to listen to, like, just period. Like every other song in the entire world is gone. So maybe like at that time in our pods, you know, our pods only have space for three songs to play. And this is songs from the entire catalog of the world of music. What would those 3 songs be?
You know, you should have gave me this as a homework assignment because I have to open up databases.
You got to come with it. That's whatever comes right now.
Because I always feel like when I answer these type of questions, it's like solidified. So like if I do end up to be 100, like these are the songs I listen to.
Yeah, you can't go back.
Jeez. Okay. That's an excellent question, yo. 3 is really hard because we got 1,000 moods. Damn. Okay. Edit out all this dead space that I'm about to give you because I really got to think about this. Mm-hmm. Let's see. It would definitely be something by Damian Marley. Mm-hmm. He got a bunch of songs that will make it on this list.
Okay.
Okay, I would say Strong Will Continue by Damian Marley and Nas on the Distant Relatives album. Only the strong will continue. Do you have it in you? 'Cause we got the journey to go. I love that song.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Jeez. 2 more. To Listen to for Eternity.
Yep, that's all you have.
Okay, I know. I don't know the name of it, but it's a classical song. It is Ode to Joy, I think. Ode to Joy by, it's either Bach or Beethoven or Mozart, one of them guys. But it goes...
one of the big 3.
Yeah, one of them guys. Hold on, I'll tell you right now so I can quote this. Ode to Joy, Symphony number 9 is Beethoven.
Okay.
Cool. It goes. So my dad is a concert pianist, right? So I grew up with classical music throughout my house. That song is so mathematically brilliant. It's so like beautifully done, like beyond just listening beautiful. It's mathematically beautiful. So Ode to Joy by Beethoven.
Okay. Cool. Damian Marley and Nas, Beethoven. Okay.
Beethoven.
Like that.
So like I'm so like you going over the play. I'm thinking like Dolly Parton is coming next or something.
No, she didn't make this list.
Okay, all right, cool.
Damn. Where else do I venture? I'm trying to think of some of my songs, but I don't know if I've made that song yet. I don't know if I've made that song yet that I could live with forever. Okay, give me help. So maybe
the third one is that song that you make that you haven't made.
The third one is that song that I haven't written
yet. Yeah.
So I got to leave that space. You know what? That's what it is. It is the song that I will forever be writing. So, I got 2 nice ones to get some inspiration from. And the third one is the one that I will be creating at that age, 2085.
Cool.
Final answer.
Good stuff. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, sir.
Absolutely.
So, unfortunately, this is where we have to wrap it up a little bit for today. But before we slide on out of here, Mr. Starr, please just let everybody know where they can find out more about you, where they can connect to you, and kind of, be a part of your journey.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, my music is streaming on all major virtual platforms. Alexander Starr. Starr has 1 R, not 2. AlexanderStarr.com. And on social media across the board, it's at Mr. Alexander Starr, Mr. Alexander Starr, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, everything.
Perfect.
Awesome.
All right. So with that, our joint, right, Nyah? It's that time?
It is that time for a special performance, I believe. an opportunity for people to really see you talked all this talk. Now let the people see you do your thing.
All right, bet. So I'm just going to walk on out of here with an a cappella performance, a snip from my latest release called I'm a Mess. And as I mentioned before, it's literally like the game in between the highlights, right? So this is how I feel when y'all don't see me winning, okay?
Awesome.
So it goes like this. I wish I had more patience for the lies, but I can't just stand here waiting for the tide to change. I'm tired of flying commercial. I need private planes. I'm trying to slide my ride inside a wider lane. It's getting wild. Everywhere I go, there's predators. Back when I was Poe, I swear I heard a crow say nevermore. I'm raving at the love I get from y'all on every tour, delighted that my music touches lives I never met before. Sometimes I look at the sky and say, come get me, Lord, help me soar. Thunderclouds are drenching me with heavy pours. Fly me, dry me off, and set me down in every store, because I'm going to change the world by making people move like Henry Ford. I don't know at which point to tell my mom I made it. I'm virtually unknown, but Emmy nominated. A messy piece of genius work my God created. Wish I could tell you more, but it's complicated. Complicated, man, it's complicated. I'm a mess, but I know that's why you love me, baby, yeah, yeah. Do you love me, baby, yeah, yeah. Even though I'm just a little bit complicated, man, it's complicated. I'm a mess, but I know that's why you love me, baby, yeah, yeah. Do you love me, baby? Even though I'm complicated.
Nice.
How was that? That was cool.
Dope. Thank you. Listen, as an English teacher, I love the Edgar Allan Poe reference and that thing. That was like, yeah, there we go. Okay,
Back
nevermore.
Poe, I swear I heard a crow say nevermore. Yeah. I'm raving at
Raven. I heard that Raven. I'm like, okay. Okay with the Raven. Double entendre on them. They didn't even know they wasn't ready.
Wordplay goes crazy.
Yo. But yo, I spoke to your point. Like, I don't know at which point to tell my mom I made it. I'm virtually unknown, but Emmy nominated. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Honestly, no. I haven't told my mom I made it. But in many ways, yes, I have, because I'm doing what I love and I'm picking up steam. So, yeah.
Sweet. All right. So this has been the first episode of the Art Prevails Project. Listeners, if you like what you heard today, this afternoon or morning or night, whenever you're listening to this, and you want more, come back, check us out. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow, make sure you tell all your friends, your enemies, your homies, your family that you need to come out and check this podcast out. So, my name is Darius Daughtry.
And I am Nyah Hardmon.
Till we meet again, be safe.
Nice.
Perfect.